According to a report by the World Meteorological Organization, the past 9 years have been the warmest years on record, and 2023 was the record-breaking year for global temperature rise in a 174-year observational record. The report reveals that the average global temperature has increased by 1.4 degrees Celsius in 2023 compared to the pre-industrial levels. For India also, 2023 was a climate change warning. The year saw extreme natural events from violent flash floods, cloudbursts, and landslides to earthquakes.
2023 is already being marked as the warmest year ever, breaking the previous record of the same period in 2016. And in India also, we have seen a huge number of disasters which are record-breaking, and we have seen extreme weather events such as heat waves, cyclones, and also erratic monsoons and floods really affecting millions of people. So that's the kind of situation we are facing. In fact, Down to Earth mentioned that in the first 9 months of 2023, India experienced a disaster nearly every day.
A study by the World Weather Attribution says heat waves that affected northwest India in 2022 were 30 times more probable due to climate change. Although such events are rare, the influence of climate change driven by greenhouse gases has increased the likelihood of heat waves. A recent University of Cambridge study reveals that 90% of India's land area is now in high heat risk zones, potentially causing a 15% drop in outdoor work capacity, impacting the lives of 480 million people. The Reserve Bank of India also warns of a potential loss of 34 million jobs by 2030 due to heat stress-related productivity decline. Further, up to 4.5% of India's GDP could be at risk by 2030 owing to lost labor hours because of extreme heat and humidity conditions. Further data provided by the government revealed that a total of 252 people died in the first half of 2023 compared to just 33 in the same period in 2022. Kerala reported the highest deaths with 120 deaths, followed by Gujarat, Telangana, Maharashtra, Tamil Nadu and UP. As the extreme weather events continue at a fast pace, experts say actionable reforms are needed to tackle and prevent the events from happening in the future.
The very first thing is to make sure that the infrastructure development that is happening both in rural as well as urban areas is strong enough. And we need to also look at what kind of water management systems we have, what kind of heat resistant crops that we have, which can respond to the changing situations, and of course, the urban planning. At the same time, we also need to promote the social safety net systems, particularly workers who are outdoors and who face this extreme heat, and how they can actually access the healthcare system. Similarly, our financial instruments need to be devised in a manner so that we are able to provide support to people who are facing these impacts, at the same time which can help them build their resilience.
Experts say India should equally focus on climate adaptation with climate mitigation. Climate adaptation refers to taking action to prepare and adjust to the current and projected impacts of climate change.
I think right now in India, too much of the focus is on climate mitigation. We're looking, at like solar plants, EVs, green hydrogen, energy efficiency, which is great and we need that. But not enough attention is being put into climate adaptation. And I think what we need, as I said, are very state-specific plans. So we have state-specific action plans based on each state on how vulnerable they are to certain extreme weather events, to labor losses, to this, to agricultural productivity. Based on those things, we need the localized specific solutions, which I feel is not going to happen through a nationalized or a very centralized framework. What the central government could do is give out guidelines, maybe come out with certain documents, give out maybe funding assistance.
In October 2023, a cloudburst that caused flash floods in North Sikkim left 42 people dead and thousands displaced. In Himachal Pradesh, landslides triggered by heavy rains claimed over 70 lives in August. These events are just a few among many disasters that took place in 2023, highlighting the increasing impact of natural calamities linked to climate change. So, does India need a dedicated climate change resilience authority?
We already have National Disaster Management Authority, which is primarily focused on disaster management, which means mostly post-disaster situation. But at the same time, we have seen recently the members of the Disaster Management Authority have been engaging a lot with the climate change impacts. And they've also been participating in the negotiations of climate change at the international level. But we must strengthen their hands, and we need to be looking at how we can expand their scope. So they should not only be responding to disasters, but also how they can play a major role in building resilience, which means a lot of things that are needed prior to disasters. And as we know that 90% of disasters are climate change related, there is one more thing that we see NDMA has not prioritized as much is slow onset events. So it has expertise to respond to floods and cyclones, but not as much in terms of situations that are related with sea level rise. Or glacier melt, or the increasing pace of desertification. We are also facing a challenge of the increasing number of displacement and forced migration. Now, some of these things definitely require a much broadened scope of work that National Disaster Management Authority needs to be doing.
Climate advocates presently are not in favor of setting up a new authority when the country already has National Disaster Management Authority or NDMA and National Institute of Disaster Management NIDM. NDMA is the apex body that deals with natural disaster management in India, while NIDM helps in the development of skills and expertise for effective disaster management in India. Nevertheless, experts emphasize the need to broaden the scope of these statutory bodies so the country can face newer challenges posed by climate change. More investments are needed in climate change research to understand these challenges. Developing measures with a focus on community involvement will be pivotal in effectively addressing the impacts of climate change.
If you like this video, share it and subscribe to Business Standard. For more news, views and insights, log on to www.business-standard.com. Do also follow us on YouTube, Twitter, Facebook, Instagram, Telegram and LinkedIn.
He's making plans for an early retirement. Business Standard.